Hello and welcome to a special edition of India's World. India-Pakistan relations continue to remain tense. As of now, the prospects for talks between the two countries seem distant. With continued militant action and the threat of terrorist violence looming large in Kashmir, the prospects for an improvement in bilateral ties do not seem very bright. At a time like this, we've had a high-profile Pakistani visitor, the country's former National Security Advisor, retired Major General Mahmud Durrani, admitting in a conference in Delhi that the 26/11 Mumbai terrorist attack was a classic case of cross-border terrorism. General Durrani is a highly decorated Pakistan Army officer who quite unusually had been a strong votary of friendship with India, both while he was in service and more actively so after he retired. He is author of several books and treatises on security and strategic affairs. One of his books is called India and Pakistan, The Cost of Conflict and the Benefits of Peace. After retirement, General Durrani was Pakistan's ambassador to the United States and was later the National Security Advisor of his country. We are privileged to have him in our studios today as our guest. Welcome to India once again, General Durrani, and welcome to Rajya Sabha TV and to this conversation.
Thank you very much, Bharat. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Likewise. So let's begin by asking you about the latest controversy. Soon after the Mumbai attack, you were the first Pakistani government official to admit that Ajmal Kasab was a Pakistani national. Now you acknowledge that the Mumbai attacks were a classic case of cross-border terror strike carried out by a group based in Pakistan. Now that group is obviously Lashkar-e-Taiba. Against this background, don't you think it's the absolute responsibility of Pakistan to rein in Lashkar and groups like that, which are engaged in cross-border terrorism against India?
Well, I've been saying this for a long time, that we should agree on certain principles, all the nations who are fighting terrorism. And one of those principles is that the soil of one country should not be used to cause terror or terrorist attacks in the second country. And I believe that. Now, there are issues, there are problems. Sometimes governments can do it. Sometimes governments don't have the wherewithal to do that. But I certainly agree that we should move forward. And in this, particularly this issue of Bombay, I think it's time we move forward and resolve this issue. And people who need to be punished should be punished. But there should be no witch hunting.
But from 2009 onwards, why hasn't there been any action? I mean, that's the question that bothers most people in India.
Yeah, I really don't know what is the level of proof. I only know up to the point that I was NSA. And these attacks occurred when I was NSA. And I may have mentioned to you in our earlier conversations that the day this attack happened, I was very upset. And the first phone call I did, I picked up the phone and called Narayanan, my counterpart with whom I had good relations.
Our NSA.
Your NSA. And my suggestion was that we will send 2 or 3 investigators who join your investigators in Bombay and help you in resolving this issue and catching the perpetrators. Narayan at that moment agreed, but I'm sure when he went back and they discussed in a bigger forum, probably I feel sometimes the urge to punish Pakistan is more than resolve issues.
Now we find that some action is being taken in Pakistan against Hafiz Saeed. Now, do you think that this is because the International Terror Watchdog Financial Action Task Force, or FATF, has played a role in putting pressure on Pakistan to act and to demonstrate that it has stopped the sources of funding of groups like Lashkar and Jaish-e-Mohammed?
I'm not sure. It may be both, or it may be a decision made by Pakistan to move on, or maybe external influences. But let me clarify here that when this attack occurred, and it was a feeling that it was Lashkar-e-Taiba, and Hafiz Saeed had disassociated himself from Lashkar-e-Taiba, and he was the head at Jamaat-ud-Dawa. I really don't know if we have any evidence that Hafiz Saeed was himself involved one way or the other.
But Jamaat-ud-Dawa was another name for Lashkar.
No, it's not another name, it's another organization. It's not, Lashkar-e-Taiba was banned. But I know for sure that Jamaat-ud-Dawa did a lot of welfare activity. When we had the earthquake in Kashmir, our part of Kashmir and Hazara, they did a phenomenal amount of work. Their hospital was better than the US hospital even. So they did a lot of good. But it is possible that, that old role was there. But physically, to us, and the point is, you have to prove these things in a court of law.
I understand that, but Pakistan itself has recognized that some of these terrorist groups reinvent themselves by taking a new name. So you become Jamaat-ud-Dawa, you become Falah-e-Insaniyat, and you do both. You might be doing a lot of charitable work, but you also promote terrorism of a particular kind.
Bharat, this is true. And in fact, before coming here, the last 3 days that I was in Pakistan at home, all 3 days there was a lot of write-up, criticism, and a lot of talk about reining in terrorists of all kinds, doing various things. And mostly it was about terrorists who are doing things in Pakistan. Just before I came, they hit 5 places. And unfortunately in that, they pointed a finger at your country, that maybe they and Afghanistan, they jointly have done this. But sometimes countries, and your country does the same, they make insinuations without any proof.
You said at the IDSA conference that Pakistan has no use for Hafiz Saeed and that he should be punished. Now, if Hafiz Saeed is running a charitable organization, to your mind, what should he be punished for?
No, I didn't say this. I think there's a bit of a misquote. What I said, if they're terrorist organization, and they should be punished. And I still believe that. I don't think the name of Hafiz Saeed came up, or at least I didn't know. There were about 20 cameras in front of me. They were mobbing me almost. But all terrorist organizations, they may be doing terrorism in Pakistan or doing cross-border terrorism, they should definitely be punished.
The US had put a bounty of $10 million on Hafiz Saeed way back in 2012. They wouldn't have done it if they had no evidence or if they didn't know that this man was involved in terrorist activities or in promoting terrorist activities. Why was he not arrested earlier? And why was he not handed over to the US? You had such good relations with US.
Well, I think by and large, to the best of my understanding, knowledge, I'm not in government, I haven't been in government for a long time. There was no real proof connecting him to these attacks, to the best of my knowledge.
So is there proof
may be involved or not, yes, that is a possibility. But I think there was no proof that you go to give in a court of law and pull him out. For example, when GHQ was attacked by some groups, the leading man who was physically recognized, this, that, the other, eventually he came out. Why? Because the witnesses were not there. I mean, it's terrible, but this is how our law operates.
Or this is how they intimidate witnesses, or...
Yes, possibly they intimidate witnesses and nobody comes out. In Pakistan, GHQ held people hostages there till we finally removed them, and they couldn't be prosecuted in a court of law. Our judiciary, you may call it good or bad or whatever, but they say justice is physically blind. They see what evidence is presented with proof, with witnesses, and then they will do it. If you don't have witnesses and proof, then they are at a loss.
So why has he been put under house arrest, and why has a travel ban been put on him?
I have no idea. They could have discovered more things because that investigation is still going on in Pakistan.
So let me ask you a more general question. Do you think that Pakistan's attitude to terrorism per se has changed? For example, has Pakistan decided now that they will not shelter, let's say, the Afghan Taliban or the Haqqani group, which targets Afghanistan, the coalition forces, that they will act against Lashkar and Jaish, which target India and want to keep Kashmir destabilized?
No, but Pakistan has throughout been saying this. How much they have acted is for you to estimate or guesstimate or whatever. They have been saying this throughout, and I think the Prime Minister, the other functionaries have said that we will not tolerate Pakistan's soil being used against other countries. Now, on these organizations which have a home, let's say in Pakistan, let's say the Haqqani group, hypothetically, let's say I agree that the Haqqanis are there, probably are there. There are two issues connected with this. First is that Pakistan is going to go after those terrorists who are creating problems for Pakistan. And 2/3 of our army has been busy fighting these and essentially Tariq-e-Taliban in Pakistan. Then the second point I want to make, which is very important as far as I'm concerned, that here as the Haqqani group, let's say in North Waziristan, and Afghanistan is in turmoil, the whole American might is there, their intelligence is there. There's some bomb blasts in the north, in Kabul, Afghanistan. Now, if hypothetically there's a truckload of explosives going from Pakistan, crossing the border, going about a couple of 100 miles north, so what have these, have they taking drugs or what? Aren't they supposed to stop? Isn't the border of joint responsibility? Don't they have intelligence? Why don't they take them on? I had a meeting with the National Security Advisor of the US at that time, and I told him, once they accused us, and I was in that meeting, I said, okay, listen, let's say we are not doing well or we don't have the capacity to do, what's wrong with you? You, if you see Haqqani target, you are bombing left, right and center in Pakistan, drone attacks, why don't you kill them? They go from Pakistan, go all the way, why don't you take them on?
These are good arguments, but I'm merely saying that after all, you had the Quetta Shura, the entire Taliban leadership was sitting in Quetta. Taliban leaders are being killed by drone strikes in Pakistani territory. Mullah Biradar was arrested in Pakistan.
True.
So you have been sheltering these people, and once they get this kind of strategic depth within Pakistan, they can operate in ways which can beat the system. After all, that's how terrorist acts take place.
Bharat, I slightly differ with you here, if you don't mind. And that is that Afghanistan is a wide open country. Bulk of it is under the Taliban control. They have all the space to operate from there, yes. And incidentally, what I learnt about the Shura was in Afghanistan, maybe one or two leaders come up, they meet in a house. It's not a parliament or anything, a Shura like that, where they come and sit and discuss. And they go back and they do these terrorist acts or pass on orders. My point is that we have to work together. We have to work together, and just blaming Pakistan, putting them in the dock all the time, it's not going to get us anywhere.
My question really was, is there a general consensus in the Pakistani polity that it's not a good idea to shelter Taliban or Haqqanis or Lashkar and Jaish?
No, I think overall there is a feeling among the people, among the government, among the security forces, that we should shelter anybody who's attacking outside or inside.
And if they are being sheltered, it's being done without the government's permission?
Probably. Right. I don't think even they are sheltered, they are there.
They're there.
Because there's such wide open spaces there. If they are there, many times we don't have the resources to pull them out from our battle and go after them.
I don't want to go on, but South Punjab is not wide open territory, it's not wild west. So if people are there,
okay, let's talk of Punjab.
Okay, so let me talk about first about your national plan against terrorism. National Action Plan was formulated, and you briefed us about the plan last time you were here.
Yes.
It was formulated after the Peshawar school attack.
Yes.
Now, how successfully or effectively was it implemented?
No, that's $1 million question, and I'm afraid I'll have to say that it's so far, I think it has not gained full momentum. I consider the National Action Plan not as a plan. This is my interpretation. I see it as political guidance. It was all the parties got together and they called it a National Action Plan, how we should go and fight the terrorists. And in that, all these things are mentioned, including that Pakistani soil will not be used for terrorist attacks across the country. This is part of the National Action Plan.
I've seen that.
Okay. So the point is, the kinetic part of the plan, lot of work has been done. Unfortunately, there are a lot of other things which need to be done. That is controlling the madrasas, controlling their funding, improving the police, improving our justice system. So a lot of things are lingering.
But wasn't it just motherhood and apple pie? Just to give you an idea, I'm just trying to provoke you. For example, it said that formation of armed militias will not be allowed in Pakistan.
Yes.
And that banned outfits will not be allowed to function under new names.
Exactly.
Now, if you don't have gun control laws on the ground, and you have large arms bazaars in outside Peshawar, Bhara, and groups are constantly reinventing themselves to get away from the law.
Yeah.
How is the National Action Plan being implemented?
I am agreeing with you that the National action plan, only parts of it has been implemented. We have to go a long way yet. And believe it or not, it is the military is pushing the civilian leadership. If you put it in percentages, the military has maybe 10%, 15% of the job in the national action plan, which is the kinetic side. But the rest of it has to be done by the civilian government. I don't want to come and sit in India and blame my political government, but they need to get their act together.
Now, the new Pakistan Army Chief, General Qamar Bajwa, has started this new operation called Raddul Fasad to root out terrorists from Punjab, especially southern Punjab. Now, would this operation target only those groups that attack Pakistan and Pakistanis, or would it also target those that operate against other countries, including India?
Yeah, Bharat, I'm not a part of the government, as I keep saying.
Yeah.
I can only give you my assessment.
Yeah.
My assessment is that, as in the past, the priority one of the government and of this plan is going to be against the people who are doing it in Pakistan. Why did this plan come up? It is because of those series of bombings within Pakistan that this whole thing came up. So priority will be that. But hopefully they will also target anybody who's going out of Pakistan to target your country or Afghanistan or anybody.
Now, what is the problem of dealing with the terrorists in Punjab? Because when I was in Pakistan, people said that they've merged with the society there. So it's not like North Waziristan, where you can say, okay, they're inside this madrasa and they need to be taken out from there. They're amongst the people.
Yeah, no.
So is that a problem?
Let me put it a little differently. I own some land in southern Punjab, of all the places. And 4 days back, I came from there. I was in a village where I inherited property from my father and grandfather. And I talk to people, I meet people, and I heard their views. Nothing official. You see, today, southern Punjab is considered to be a dangerous area because there are a lot of madrasas, more than any other area. I think the only formal terrorist organization that exists there is in Bahawalpur city or there. Otherwise, it is not true that there are terrorists roaming around with guns and explosives all over southern Punjab. That is not true. What is true is that there are a very, very large number of madrasas in southern Punjab, which has been ignored for all these years, and the ruling party, which is ruling Punjab, they don't want other people to come and fiddle with their province. So now they have gone, and I'm sure they'll go after these various madrasas and other institutions that are in Punjab.
This proliferation of madrasas, is it because the state sector has withdrawn from education, or there are not enough government schools, municipal schools?
Basically, it's a combination of all this. You see, in society, if there is justice, if there is good law and order, there is good education, then the possibilities of madrasas is low. Now, a man in southern Punjab, he has 2 children. So he will keep one to himself to help him. The other one, he'll say, okay, I'll send him to a madrasa because I can't afford to send my child to a good school. In madrasa, he will go there, he'll be educated, he'll be clothed, he'll be given food, and at the end of the day, he'll have a job. So it is, you are right on that we don't have sufficient education establishments, and particularly the education establishments run by the government are substandard. That's why education has become now a subject which is being supported and dealt with by the private sector, and private sector charges money. And a lot of people can't afford that. That's true.
Let's talk a bit about Afghanistan. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani had taken the unusual and unprecedented step of visiting GHQ in Rawalpindi.
Yes, I know.
Because he wanted to turn a new leaf. Now, what one fails to understand is, did the Pakistan army respond? And if it did not respond to his overtures, why did it not respond?
The little that I know, I think the army was doubly keen. The Pakistan army was more keen to work with Afghanistan. They gave all kind of proposals to him about training their soldiers, about helping them. We don't have the kind of money that other international donors have. That we can't support. But we also went out of our way, and I was one of them, and there are many people like us. We were praying for a long life for the new Afghan president. It is, I think, the establishment. There are problems, and somehow this whole thing didn't take off. Ashraf Ghani, when he did this, I believe, and I'm told by people, that it was against the wishes of the senior leadership which was supporting or not supporting him. I think it was more because of that they didn't take off. Obviously, eventually it is Pakistan which is blamed, and everything gathered, and eventually sanctuaries.
But you said the establishment was against it. You mean the Afghan establishment?
Afghan establishment.
So what is the Afghan establishment? It is you mean the intelligence agencies? You mean the other political groups? Who do you mean?
Mostly the intelligence agency and also the political groups. I don't know where we have gone wrong, but we supported Afghanistan to the hilt. We had the refugees, Afghan refugees, millions of them in Pakistan. We welcomed them. We kept them in our, but somewhere they got the feeling that all that is ill in Afghanistan is because of Pakistan.
So because of that perception, do you think that the Afghanistan-Pakistan relationship has been damaged beyond repair, or do you think it can still be salvaged and repaired?
Well, it has been damaged hell of a lot. I hope it can be repaired, and there is nothing in politics, international politics, which can't be overturned and the leaves turned.
So what's the first thing that would need to be done to improve that relationship?
It's the same thing which applies to India and Pakistan, and that is trust. And my simplistic solution always has been, for God's sake, talk to each other. Now, if, let's say, Pakistan and Afghanistan are talking to each other, and there's a bomb blast in Mazar-e-Sharif or wherever, and they turn around and say, we are not talking to you. You can't control these people. And they shut the talks. That is absolutely counterproductive, and we are playing into the hands of the terrorists. So my solution or my recommendation is that, for God's sake, have a continuous dialogue. And I don't mean those foreign secretary, you put two little flags and nice suits and you sit for half an hour and you make your points, he makes his point. No.
Okay.
Multiple levels, roll up your sleeves and talk openly, frankly.
Now, what's been the impact of Pakistan's role in Afghanistan, perceived role in Afghanistan, to quote you, on its relationship, on your relationship with the United States? And how do you think that that this perception is going to impact your relationship with the new administration led by President Trump?
Well, I'll take you back when I was ambassador in Washington. Even at that time, the American administration was blaming us that we are not doing enough. We are the Haqqani group and blah, blah, blah. And I was on CNN and I was being grilled, and I was being grilled almost every week that you guys are not doing enough. I said, you've pushed me enough. Let me tell you what I think is the fact. And the fact is that you have bad policies. I'm talking the Americans. You have bad policies. While you were engaged in Afghanistan, you left Afghanistan, you abandoned Afghanistan and went to Iraq. So your focus shifted. Besides that, if you look at the conditions in Afghanistan when 9/11 happened and till today, there is nothing new. So you are eventually going to blame us. And the blame is because of those few Haqqani groups. So I think it is unfair, but this is what has happened with Pakistan.
Okay, but you've not answered my question. How the relationship with the Trump administration depend on this perception?
I hope we talk and we can clear this and we can work together, because we still need the Americans and they still need us.
Okay. So now I want to take you to China. Your relationship with China is referred to as an all-weather friendship. Now in India, people see it as an opportunistic relationship that China has to contain India. Now you've been a great votary of good economic ties with India. My question to you is, in the long run, do you see Pakistan's future that lies in better ties with a compatible larger economy like India's, or with a socially, culturally, economically and politically different China?
Ideally, I would like excellent ties with India, good economic relations with India, but right now we are not even talking. China is talking us, not lecturing us, not beating us up on the head, so we are going with them, and hopefully that will work.
Yeah. So, you've got CPEC now, China-Pakistan
Yeah,
Economic
yeah.
Corridor, which potentially provides Pakistan a huge economic opening. But are there also apprehensions regarding the efficiency and the economic feasibility of the project, one? And two, are there Pakistanis who think that when you have thousands of Chinese soldiers present in Pakistani soil, thousands of Chinese workers, engineers, what have you, that this could actually at some point may pose a threat to your sovereignty?
This is not, by and large, Pakistan is very happy. They love the Chinese and they want the Chinese to come, and they have greater faith in the Chinese. But there are muted voices in Pakistan who come up on the media or even in idle conversation कि यार एक गुलामी से दूसरी गुलामी हम चले जाएंगे from America to China. There are voices like that. But overwhelmingly it is being welcomed, and the fear is कि can we match the Chinese in the work that is to be done for CPEC?
Nobody refers to what they have done and their neo-imperialist objectives in Africa, that they may be after your natural resources more than anything else?
No, I don't think I have heard a word of that.
Okay.
Not a single word. I don't think there are colossal resources there. What we are providing, of course, is very big in the sense that we are providing them a great route, short route from Western China into the Indian Ocean.
Okay. My last question to you. Are you still hopeful? You've been coming to India so often. Are you still hopeful for India-Pakistan ties? Do you think the two countries will start talking soon?
I hope they do. And I wish they do. And I have a feeling they will.
Okay. On that happy note, thank you very much indeed, General Durrani, for joining me in this conversation and coming to our studios. That's all we have for you today. We'll be back again next week as usual. Until then, goodbye and thanks for watching India's World.